So it's mouse off B here, and I've got a computer here on the workbench that needs some repair done to it. So this is my Toshiba Satellite Pro 445 CDX, and from the title of this video, or even owners of this era of these Satellite Pros will probably know what this video is dealing with when we talk about repairs on these. And to get this little context, let me first show you what's going on with the computer, and then we'll discuss it in detail. Now, if you just want to look at the repair parts, you can just go ahead and use the chapter feature and skip ahead in the video. But let's go ahead and show what's going on. So, I've got the computer here. I do have my post test card up on the side. I'm going to actually turn the lights off so we can see that a little better. So, here is the computer. There's a test card. Let me plug it in. Okay, now light up. These little parallel port test cards are kind of handy because on older laptops like this, you can get post codes out through the parallel port and be able to see what's going on. So I'm going to turn the computer on here, and we're going to watch what kind of codes come up on here. So we get our initialization on the keyboard, and we see that it stops with codes 4 and 5, and you see no video comes up on the monitor, nothing else happens, the computer just doesn't boot, it just halts there with those two codes. So that's as far as this computer gets, and that's the problem with it. And as I say, other owners of Satellite Pros from this era probably know what's going on with it. And of course I'm trying to turn it off here. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and turn our lights back on. So what's going on with this machine, and pretty much what frustrates other Satellite Pro owners for these era laptops? Well, this has what I would call the dreaded memory initialization or read-write errors that plague a lot of these Satellite Pros of this era, and it also includes some of the Tecra brand line of laptops and a couple of others from Toshiba around the same period. And what happens is that these laptops, they have two batteries in them. They have a 3-cell and a 6-cell nickel metal hydride packs. One is for the real-time clock, the other is for the standby resume feature of the laptop. Both of these batteries are nickel metal hydride, which are rechargeable, so that gives them the ability to be charged up while the computer is on, and that enables the computer to maintain the date and time and other settings, along with the standby resume capability in case the main lithium-ion battery in these laptops go dead. So if the main battery went dead, you still have your date and time, and you can still get out of standby without losing any of your data, because with standby you're keeping the memory and other stuff alive. So, but of course, with age, these nickel metal hydride batteries begin to leak and corrode, and what happens is the corrosion wicks along the power wire on these boards, and we'll see it when we get to it, and also see it on the replacement board I have for this. They wick along the power wire, all this corrosion, and then they eventually get to the connector. And the problem is, with the design of these system boards, you have these power connectors on the top, and then on the under flip side of that board is where you have all the address lines going to the onboard memory on these computers. This has 16 megabytes of onboard memory, and some of those address lines are right under those connectors where the corrosion occurs, and then of course that causes damage to the traces, and then it can't read or write to the memory chips, and that's how you get errors 4 and 5 on our posts there. And of course the laptop doesn't boot up, and there's no power to the hard drive, no power to the video, USB, optical drive, nothing. The computer doesn't power anything up at that point. And again, as I say, it's the most common problem you find on these. If you look these up on eBay or something like that, you'll find a whole bunch of them that are being sold that say they don't power up or they don't boot because this is the problem they've got. They've got this battery corrosion on the board that has rendered problems with the traces going to the onboard memory, and there's no way to bypass the onboard memory on these to use the expansion slot for it. So you have to either fix it or you got to replace the board, which is what we're doing in this case. So let's go ahead and talk about replacing the board on this. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this and unplug the power. So on this Satellite Pro, there is kind of a procedure I've come along with, and I'll explain it here first, and then the video will be sped up with me taking the laptop apart, so you'll kind of be able to follow that. So the first step to getting to the main board is you first need to take out the battery, the hard drive, and the select bay, because you need to access these 3 screws here. So you'll need a small Phillips like this, and then you'll need a small little flathead jewel screwdriver like this for doing a little prying and some other components removal in there. So take these out, get these 3 screws out first, and that will allow you to access this front part here, because this lifts up when you take those 3 screws out, so you can access the memory and the modem in here along with the microphone and the lid sensor. So you flip that up, you disconnect the touchpad connections, and then you also take off the little rubber straps, and that way you can get this panel out of the way. If you have the modem installed as well, you can go ahead and take the modem out as well. After you do that, then you do a little work inside where we use our little jewel screwdriver, pry up the little securing tab for the keyboard, and then take the keyboard out of that and put that aside, and then there'll be a metal grid kind of plate in there. We'll use our screwdriver and then start taking about 3 or 4 screws out of that, and then taking that little metal securing plate off of that and putting that aside. And then what we'll do is we'll take 3 more screws out, which are starting to hold the LCD and case part onto the computer, so you'll have 3 screws out front here to take out. Once those are out, then we will close the lid back, turn the computer back over, and then we will take these screws out from here, and then also these 2 screws here. And also you need to ensure that you take the screw out of here and remove your PCM, CIA, or PC card cover thing out of here, because that is going to be blocking the keys there. And you can see I already broke one because of the having that been left there accidentally, so make sure you remove that as well. Once you get all those screws out along with the cover there, then you'll be able to open the lid back up. You'll be able to pull on it some so you can release the snaps on it, but don't pull up too much, because you need to get under there, because you have both the inverter cable and the LCD harness that you need to disconnect for the LCD monitor. Once you got that, then this whole top piece can be put off to the side, and then you'll be able to see the whole main board there. Now it does have a cover sheet on there, so there'll be a couple of screws as well on this side, and a couple of others as well, because the batteries for what we were talking about earlier will be located here, so that part will also need to come out, which you can do with the front piece on there. And then you'll be able to take that cover sheet off the main board, and then we'll have a little panel over here, so we'll be able to take the little plastic cover off of that. There's 1 screw here and another screw about here. You take those out, and then you need to pull up on it at an angle like this and get that out, because that has the switch attachment, a couple of other things on there to get that out of the way, because the cooling fan is back here, so we need to remove that because that is attached to the heatsink on the main board. Then we'll have the speakers. The speakers can just as easily come out on that. They're just kind of recessed in there with a little wire plugged into the board. There is the USB and IR board back here, which of course is this part here. You can leave that on the main board, but we are going to take it off to transfer it to the other one. You don't have to remove that to pull the board out. It will come out with the board. And then there'll basically be several screws on the board there that anchor the top system board, which is what we're working with, to the lower system board and also the case. We don't have a problem with the lower system board because that's the power supply board for the computer. We're just working on the main system board here. And that's pretty much it. Once you've got that, it's just reverse order, putting the board back in and reassembling everything, and then testing out the computer. So let's go ahead and get started. Here we are. Here is the old board. So normally, and this is the part of the board that you can see, is this top part here. It's the other side we see. Now usually there would be, I'll bring it up close, hopefully the camera's going to focus on it. This is where the battery connectors are for these little VARTA batteries they have on here. And you can see I've cleaned up the traces, but there's already some damage that's been present there. But of course the issue is on the flip side here, because if you look on the flip side, there is all these little resistors that go to this control chip here, and of course here's all your 16 megabytes of onboard memory, and you've got traces that all go in between here to communicate. And if you look closely, you can see that there is some resistors already missing from trying to repair this, and there is some trace damage on the board there, which is causing our 04 and 05 errors. So this is where your problem area is going to be, is generally right in here on the other side of those power connectors. But of course you might have some damage here as well to contend with. Otherwise this board is fully functional. This computer was working perfectly fine till the corrosion got to a point to where it just couldn't communicate with the onboard memory anymore, and pretty much killed the board. So if that could be repaired, then this board could be made workable again. But the issue with the board, I just decided to replace it, and I was able to find one from Impact Computers out of Hollywood, Florida, that does a lot of stuff with older Toshiba computer parts. So I was lucky to be able to find one there for a pretty good price, actually. So I will need to transfer some components to the new board. One of the components will be the cooling fan here for the heatsink on the processor, and I will need to also transfer over the USB and IR board, and I also need to put a screw from this on the other board because I noticed it only had one screw here on the CPU. Plus I need to transfer the screws over that are holding the PC card on, because the PC card I saw on there does not have any screws holding it. Other than that, should be the only components to transfer over. So let me see about taking those off of this board here so I can transfer them. screw on this heatsink shield to go to this one. And then I need this PC card. Screw on there as well. That should be all that needs to be taken off of this board. So let's go ahead and pull up the replacement. So here is the replacement board in its nice pink packaging. Get it out here. Now this board's been refurbished, and yes, there is maybe a little bit of stuff we'll have to rebend on it, but it's pretty much an identical board. As you can see, there really isn't anything wrong around memory here as we had on the other board. And if we look, we have our power connectors complete there, along with no real damage there either. So we'll need to put our screws in there along with our speaker mount to hold our PC card slot in place. Again, need to put a screw on that since it was missing it for the CPU there. Of course, install our cooling fan and also install our USB and infrared board. And then we can just basically set this back in on the power board on inside, and then basically just start connecting everything and fastening stuff back down. And to see if this board works out. Again, it's supposed to be working, but you never know. Even with refurbished stuff sitting around, something could have happened. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reinstall the speaker. It's put soon, or it's just the way it is. I think that works. Alright, I think we're ready to reinstall the board and start reassembling the laptop here. this. Alright, it's almost all back together. I just have to put a new drive in this. That's for another time period. Battery. And hope nothing blows up when we put the battery in. And we're all reassembled. So I'm going to hook up the charger. Check the power board. And I got two lights. I got AC and battery, so that's good there. These to the side. I'm going to bring my PC card host here. Plug that into the system. The battery bank. Bring this forward enough so we can see both that and the screen. I'll turn the lights off. And this is the part where we cross our fingers to make sure nothing bad happens. Let's see what happens when we power on this board. I see activity. We have a screen, we have sound. Turn it up. Oh, of course the screen's like bad RTC battery, bad checksum. Yep, that's what I expect. Press F1 key. Simultaneous enabled. See, enhanced IDE. You have 16,384 kilobytes of memory. Full power. Volume, system beep, AC compatible. I want HDD. Yeah, let's see. HDD FTDC ROM. Okay, page down. COM1. CP. Okay, I'm gonna make sure the sound stuff is right because I know this system acted up before with that. Save changes. Okay, it's booting from the hard drive. Starting Windows 95. And you should be able to see it. Of course, this is a DSTN display, so that's why the graphics look so bad from that angle. Because this is not a TFT LCD, this is a DSTN type of screen, or dual super twisted pneumatic if you want to be technical. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out the sound. This is acting up on me here. Not enough memory, blah blah blah. Yes, I've had this problem before with this system. That's an issue with the sound or some issue that I gotta figure out here. But the good thing is the computer's fixed. It's booting up. Just have to do a little work in Windows there. Again, this computer has not booted in like half a year, if not longer than that. Probably almost a whole year. I don't know how long that board was faulty. But the good thing is this board is working. So I am happy with that. Hey guys, Brian here. Do me a favor and click that like button down below, and while you're at it, go ahead and click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content when I post it. See you guys in the next one.